Hello, it is Sunday, April 17th, 2022. I'm Chris Remo, and welcome back to the New York Times Crossword Daily Solve. It is a Sunday puzzle, so we have quite a long solve potentially ahead of us today. I suppose you'll have a better idea than I based on the length of the video. I hope it's not too bad, because I did find yesterday's to be a bit of a challenge, so I hope it's not that difficult. I doubt it will be. But first, let's thank a few people. This edition of the Daily Solve has been brought to us by Michael H., Joe Percy, and, as always, the inestimable Hood Monster and the invaluable Timothy Mark. So thank you so much to the four of them, benefactors of the Daily Solve Patreon campaign. And if you'd like to join their ranks, get access to to that recognition, as well as to receive in the mail the Daily Solve Let's Check the Crosses mug, you can find that at patreon.com/dailysolve or at the link in the description field underneath the video. But of course, if you back the Patreon campaign at any level, you'll get access to all of the bonus videos that have gone up on the channel to date, plus the new ones that go up each week. And speaking of those, in the last few days, 3 videos have gone, just in the last 2 days, I think, 3 videos have gone up. We have the weekly mini New York Times puzzle speed solve. We have the most recent Boss Words Spring Themeless League competition puzzle. And we have, most recently, the latest edition. I think this is going up. This will be up today. So by the time this video is posted, there will be the latest Constructors Corner video compilation. In this case, I've solved 6 crosswords constructed by members of the Daily Solve Discord community. And if you'd like to join that Discord, it's free for anybody to join. There's a link as well in the description field. And if you are a backer of the Patreon campaign, you also get access to an extra channel in there. But all of those community-created puzzles have come from the Discord channel and the Constructors Corner and Constructors Corner Complete channels, so you can solve any of them yourself before watching my solves if you like. All right, that's that. Do subscribe as well to the channel if you've been enjoying any of this. And let's move on to today's puzzle. So this is, as I said, a Sunday puzzle, of course, so an extra large grid, probably a Wednesday to Thursday level difficulty I usually find. It was constructed by Emmett Ozar in her debut construction, so well done to her, and edited, as always, by Will Shorts. And it's entitled On the Hunt, so I wonder if this is Easter-themed. It may be, given it is Easter Sunday today, and maybe some kind of Easter egg hunt. We'll have to see. I suspect so. I don't know. Let's get going. We'll play. What flowers eventually do? They wilt? If this were a cryptic crossword, I would assume flowers to actually be flowers and be referring to rivers, which is very often what happens in cryptic crosswords, but I don't, probably not here. I don't know, maybe. Anyway, affable, golfer Aoki. Okay, I don't think this is wilt. Oh, maybe it is actually. Actually, hold on a moment, because golfer Aoki, is it Esau maybe? You'll be unsurprised to learn I know this name, if I know it, I think I do, entirely from crosswords. It's one of those crossword-friendly names. On the drink. I think this is on the drink in a piratey sense, so a sea. We're at sea, we're on the drink. Oh, I see it. If you're affable, you're warm. You have an affable presence. You have a warm personality. List from 1 to blank. I'm not sure. Rate, maybe? Oh, I see. Yeah, maybe you're rating. You could rate a collection of crosswords. You could list them from 1, the best, to 17, the worst. Who knows? Help out. Oh, Oh, it's not rate. It's rank. Okay, so similar but even more accurate in this case to rank things numerically. And that occurred to me because I looked at help out, which looked like lend a hand, and so the N would be more appropriate. So to help out is to lend a hand. Pay attention could be to take note, maybe. And one might help with a connection, a modem perhaps, to connect to the internet. Do people still talk about modems? I suppose we still have cable modems, many of us, to connect our local area networks to the internet. Scary Spice Girl. Ah, this must be one of the Mel's. But which one? I don't know. Who are the 2 Mel's? Oh, goodness. I learned this through the crossword a few months ago. Are they Mel B and C, maybe? Are those the Mels? Mel B and C? That kind of sounds familiar. So C would look more likely here. Bob Marley and the Wailers, for one. I'm not sure what that is offhand. Sorry. Excuse me. Oh, right. Okay, this isn't take note. This is take heed. So once again, looking at a cross has informed my suspicion about one of the downs. So here we have, excuse me, looks like ahem, clearing your throat. And and so that's why take note is in fact take heed, pay attention. And again, I think that is a slightly closer match. So here we have unaccounted for short. MIA, missing in action. And scary, okay, right, that's that Mel, we don't know who yet. Daughter of Polonius in Shakespeare, Ophelia. Oops. From Hamlet. And ish could be or so. You could say that, or seven-ish, seven or so. And identified. Pegged? Oh, no, it doesn't fit. What about this? Button often denoted by a right arrow. Oh, send. You could send an email that often has an arrow. Often a sort of stylized arrow pointing right. Like almost all prime numbers, almost all of them are odd. All of them except for the number 2, the only even prime. So if something is identified, why do I not see what this is? And what was this again? Bob Marley and the Wailers, for one. I wonder if I have something else that's incorrect. I mean, I may. What am I not seeing about Bob Marley and the Wailers? Sorry, I'm not sure what I'm missing. On edge. Oh, maybe this is band. And then on edge is antsy. And rapper Cool Mo D, right? Cool Mo D, I think. What do I not see about this? Oh, wait a second. I misspelled lend a hand. Lend a hand. Why did I put that? Lend a hand. Oh, it's a reggae band. Boy, that misspelling really tripped me up. Okay, so it is an egg hunt. It's an Easter egg hunt for Easter. So here we have reggae band. So if you're new to this channel, and we've had a fair number of new viewers recently, I think, you might not be familiar with the concept of a rebus. So a rebus has its own meaning in puzzle solving more generally, but in the New York Times crossword, a rebus refers to the act of putting several letters, not just one letter, into a single cell in the crossword grid. And when you're solving on the browser, you can get in and out of this mode with escape, but there's also a button that you can click for the rebus. And then, similarly, there's a button on the keyboard on the phone app. But so we presumably are going to be finding a number of locations with these hidden eggs. And that explains why I couldn't figure out identified either. That would be, it's pegged. I see, pegged. We have reggae band and pegged. Great. Okay, so that's good. And now China makes up much of it. A tea set? You could have fine china comprising a tea set. Chord whose notes are played in succession. An arpeggio. This will be another hidden egg. So an arpeggio is really what is described here. So let's say you were playing a chord, a C major chord, and it's C, E, G, and then another C up there for the root. The arpeggio would be you sort of play them in quick succession, so it creates almost like a little trill or a little escalation up. That's an arpeggio. Comedian's stage prop. A stool? I suppose a comedian often has a stool to hand. Lay down in a way. Assert. You could lay down some facts. You could assert some facts. Or claims, I guess, more accurately. So without could be sans from the French, sans, without. We use that in English for various purposes. And words with words. You could have a way with words. You could have a certain je ne sais quoi, speaking of French. You could have a certain facility with words. Something intricately detailed and impressive. Not sure. What about this? Most valued card in the deck, the Ace of Spades? Yes, that does fit. Great. And here we have a church minister. It looks like a deacon to me. There's a light reference, I guess, to the Easter-related theme. Just a glancing reference. Something intricately detailed and impressive. Right, so what is this? Not sure. And what about, let's check the crosses on deacon. Chinese, Chi Pao, is that, e.g.? I'm not sure. What about this? Jazz pianist Blake, who composed Shuffle Along. I don't know. Eddie Blake? People in a long line, perhaps. So, obviously the most straightforward interpretation of this would be people queuing, people in a line physically, but I'm wondering if it's referring to people genealogically in a long line, so heirs to a throne or something like that. I'm not sure. It's spineless. An amoeba? Oh, I have to also remember there could be egg in any of these. I have to really keep that in mind. I haven't really been thinking about that. Actually, I never even looked at this arpeggio egg. Why didn't I look at that? Breakfast brand tagline. Lego this is going to give us another egg. Lego, what? Are you seeing this on? Sorry. There was an autocorrect that came up when I started typing in the rebus. I can't tell if that was showing up in the video preview. Sorry, I have to sort of reorganize my windows in order to see that. No, it doesn't. Wow, that's very odd. Sorry. I won't keep pointing this out now that I know it doesn't appear for you, but there's a little autocomplete that, for me, comes up when I start typing in E, because I guess I typed egg in a different rebus window, and my browser's interpreting that as a sort of form that it wants to autocomplete. So you can't see it in the video, but what a strange thing. I've never had that happen before. Anyway, not important at all. So Lego My Ego is a slogan associated with a brand of frozen waffles in at least the United States. I don't know if they're anywhere else. I don't think I've seen them here in the UK, but they might be. Anyway, Lego My Ego is the phrase. Rock type. Could be emo. It's a funny central answer in this enormous Sunday grid. Emo music. A genre of music. It lifts the veil from the hidden beauty of the world and makes familiar objects be as if they were not familiar. Per Percy Bysshe Shelley, the poet, husband of Mary Wollstonecraft Shelley. I may have pronounced his middle name incorrectly. I'm sorry if so, but presumably this is poetry. He was, after all, a poet, and it does sound like it is itself a very poetic description of poetry. Big name in chicken. Not sure. And here we have expecting in slang. Oh, preggers. I really do not like that word for whatever reason. But a sort of slangy way of saying pregnant. Okay. Word before shot and after hot. Pot shot and hot pot. There we go. That's a tongue twister for you. And here we have a Welsh guy. A boyo? What is that? Big brass. And site at a winery. You could have a vat at a winery. Big brass. What are some big brass instruments? Or actually, it might not be that. It might be something else. It might be brass from a military officer, something like that. Chills. And what do we have elsewhere? Response to who's there. It's me, you could say. Slightly less formal than it is I. Passionate about could be mad about. Goes off on could be something's at. So I assume this will be an S here. Admitted it with up. Fessed up. You confessed to something. You admitted it. And that looks like the symbol for yen, the Japanese currency. So yen. And safecrackers in old-fashioned slang. I know this. And I'm glad I didn't spend much time worrying about chills just yet, because this is yeggs. A safecracker, as it indicates here, I would say a fairly archaic bit of slang for a safecracker is a yegg, Y-E-G-G, and I think can also be spelled even more obscurely with a single G, but it's more common with two Gs. There's another good one for cryptic crosswords, for what it's worth. Anyway, so chills, veggies out. There we go. So it was neither of the meanings of chills that I had in mind. I was thinking first chills as in ices, either literally or metaphorically, either chills you to the bone or physically chills you. Or I was thinking, I don't know what else I was thinking. Maybe those were the two meanings, the literal and metaphorical. Anyway, it wasn't those. It was chills as in relaxes. Okay. Body feature that approximately 10% of people have. Is it an outie belly button, maybe? I don't know. Just sort of guessing only based on that O. I have no idea about the percentage of that. Plumbing pipe known as a trap, a U-bend, under a sink, for instance, drainage. And brings under control. Big brass, so a tuba, some kind of tuba. Oh, tames, you can bring something under control, you could tame it. A spiritual object could be a totem. And B. Arthur was one before her acting career. What was B. Arthur before her acting career? I think I've read about B. Arthur, but I can't remember. That's annoying. Taking prescription drugs, taking RX drugs, prescription drugs. You're on meds, I guess. And here we have dream idly, could be to doze, maybe? Some purchases for Christmas displays. Tree stands, you could have a Christmas tree stand. And why do I not see what this is? I mean, can't be very many options. So B. Arthur was one. What was she? She was a... Boy, I don't know. That's annoying. I might have something wrong here. Doze doesn't look great, actually, with these crosses. Jupiter and Mars were gods. Okay, so that certainly wasn't doze. So that was leading me on the wrong track. So to dream idly is to what? I don't know. And here we have formal festivities. Galas, perhaps? Gala is sort of a formal party, a soiree sort of thing. Vital things. Vital statistics. Vital what? Trials? I don't know. Big name in chicken. Oh, Tyson, that's a brand of sort of commercially produced chicken, I guess. Covered in long, soft hair. And the Evian Championship is one of its majors. I'm just guessing LPGA based on the number of letters in that L there. The Ladies Professional Golf Association, I think? And Private Aid Group. Don't know. Oh, an NGO, a non-governmental organization. There we go. And critics' pick could be... Critics' pick. Oh, a knit. You could pick knits. Oh, that's clever. So there's the question mark there, indicating a pun or bit of wordplay. And so here, instead of something that a critic... You'd read critics' pick and you'd think, it's one of the critic's favorite films or books or something. But no, we're using pick in a different, slightly punnier way, and so we're referring to nitpicking. And the question mark is what clues us into that. So vital things, vital organs. Why didn't I think of that? To dream idly is to what? To... Oh, moon. You could say that person's moony. They're sort of dreamy and out of it a bit. So, was B. Arthur a Marine? That sort of sounds strangely familiar, actually. Things that might get written down on sticky notes. Brainstorms. There we go. It's all fitting together. So we had brainstorms. Oh, and we never looked at this pilos or pylos, covered in long, soft hair. That's a good word. That's one to add to your vocabulary. An absolute beaut could be a gem. And a fairy tale sibling could be Hansel, as in Hansel and Gretel from the... Is that a Hans Christian Andersen story? I'm actually not sure. To puts up could be... I don't know. Erects obviously doesn't fit. Adds in. Maker of ding-dongs and Twinkies is commercial bakery hostess. And apt name for a landscaper. Mow, perhaps? Someone who mows lawns. Oh, that doesn't look great, actually, though, does it? AE puts up. Not sure. Maybe I won't put that in for now. I thought that was going to work. Let's look elsewhere. Orchestral prelude to an opera. It's not an overture, I guess. Orchestral prelude to an opera. Oh, symphonia? Does that work? Let's check the crosses. Zilch could be nil. And I'm still not sure about this Chinese chupao. And then unrivaled. I don't know. Maybe it's not. Nil probably correct, though. Deems right could be... If you deem it right, you what it. And I have to remember there could be eggs anywhere. Actually, let's see if the eggs are symmetrical. Let's see if they're radially symmetrically disposed, because these two certainly are, in the sense that if you rotated the puzzle 180 degrees, these two eggs would stay in precisely the same position in which they're currently situated. And then, so that would mean this egg would be symmetrical to this cell, if in fact these are symmetrically disposed, which they may or may not be. But let's check. Plod perseveringly. So if this were egg, does that work? And then here, on the other hand, I could be wrong. I don't know. It doesn't look great to me. Because this looks like maybe not. Yeah, so I don't know if these are... I maybe shouldn't be relying on that. Ballet jump. Well... Ballet... Oh, jeté. Okay, sorry. Yeah, that's fine. I was thinking of an axle or something like that, but... I was trying to come up with a reason why maybe not was wrong, which means maybe egg is here, but I think this might be actually correct. Stock paper for short. Stock paper for short. The question mark, some kind of pun or wordplay. I'm not sure. Beer what? Drinking/running event. No idea. 1-1 till present. What does that mean? Oh, year to date. Oh, that's funny. It's just one of those cryptic looking, just sort of strange looking clues, but it actually makes perfect sense once you see it, which is January 1st until the present day. Another way to describe that is the year to date, or YTD as an abbreviation. And they probably, arguably, could have even avoided saying abbreviation because till is a contracted version of until, so arguably. Okay, 85, La Place in LA. So this will be La something, La Bu something, I guess. I don't know LA very well, I must say. Here we have like anomalies. So anomalies are unusual, they're strange. Yeah, okay, that worked. Oh, La Brea, I've heard of that. And then over-the-counter seller is what? A deli? Deli counter. Cooking ahead of time, say, not sure. And then put on could be a mass, maybe. If you put on weight, maybe. I don't know. That doesn't quite fit very well. Adorn, you put on decorations. Cooking ahead of time. Oh, this could be meal prep. So put on. And what is this? Beer something. Drinking running event. I have no idea what this is. Beer mile? That just doesn't seem right. Plod, oh, maybe it is though. Plod perseveringly could be slog. Is that really beer mile? I've never heard of that. Stock paper. Oh, stock paper for short. This isn't a very clever clue. So here again, we have the question mark indicating a bit of wordplay or punnery, and it's the Wall Street Journal. And so, in other words, it's a financially oriented newspaper. So it's about stock. If you're interested in sort of keeping up with stocks and things like that, you might read the Wall Street Journal. And then the for short indicates that we're abbreviating it. Resident of the capital of Manitoba would be a Winnipegan. Oh, no, sorry, I need the egg. Perfect. Wow, now that is That's a good word. Winnipeg. That's a good way to get egg in here. Winnipegan. Well done. Because ordinarily Winnipeg would just have a single G in it, right? I'm sorry, I just need to see if that looks right. Yeah, ordinarily Winnipeg would just have a single G, but Winnipegan gets us that double G. That is a difficult collection of letters. I'm realizing as I do this puzzle, it is not common in English to have two G's in the same word, which is obviously be more common in other languages like Italian, which is where obviously the derivation of arpeggio, and then slang terms like preggers. I mean, it's really not, yeah, it's actually really not common in standard English words, and almost none of these are. I mean, veggies out is another abbreviation, so we have to, well, not an abbreviation, but it's a contraction. We don't find it in the word from which this is derived, vegetates. And then reggae band, I don't really know what, I mean, that's sort of, I mean, it's certainly a relatively recently created word. I don't know the etymology of it. But Lego My Ego, obviously Lego, again, is a contracted sort of slang version of a word, and then Ego is a brand name, so it could be anything. And that actually presumably just comes from egg anyway. So yeah, it's and then yegs, of course, is an archaic term. So again, we really don't have any standard English in here at all. And Winnipegan is a proper noun. Well, it's an adjective derived from a proper noun. I never put this in. So this was boyo and base tuba. There we go. Yeah, so very interesting. I mean, you'd think egg. Well, egg is itself a standard English word, but none of these other things that we're using it to create are themselves, I would consider, sort of standard English. If you see what I mean, I don't mean that they're weird words that shouldn't be used or anything. I just mean they all have they're either loan words, or they're contractions, or they're proper nouns, or something like that. We just don't see this EGG very often in kind of ordinary English. So it makes it all the more challenging and impressive. Anyway, I'll move on. Sorry for that digression. To put on is to apply, I see, as in to put on makeup, for instance. And polite agreement could be yes'm, kind of a contraction of yes, ma'am. I'm not really sure if that's right, though. Broadway musical centered around two girls in love with thee. Oh, maybe this isn't Winnipegan. Maybe it's Winnipegger. I mean, it doesn't change any of that egg thing, but it would make these crosses look a little more plausible. So what is this? Dragon roll ingredients could be eels. This does look better. Name that rhymes with edgy is Reggie. Once again, it's a proper noun. It's not a sort of just ordinary word. Title Disney character from Hawaii would be, is it Lilo and Stitch? Is that the character's name? And then Broadway musical centered around two girls in love, The Prom. I don't know Broadway musicals very well, to be honest, so I'm not personally familiar with this, but that seems plausible. And then yes'm. It's all right. So there we go. So we're moving along. This is already, I think, taken longer than yesterday's Saturday puzzle, despite that one being a Saturday puzzle. So it just goes to show how, I mean, we've probably filled about as much grid as that entire puzzle had already. Puts up, I don't know, antes, money for a poker game, perhaps? Apt name for a landscaper. Oh, lawn. Oh, that's much more clever than mow. So lawn as in a grass lawn. Lon Chaney, for instance. Chickpeas and peanuts for two are legumes, botanical category, I guess. And one of a pair of kitchen tools. Zester? No reason that would be a pair. Not sure. What about this? Wrestling duos, tag teams. You hear about those in wrestling. Land in Rome. Terra? Literally for land, I suppose. And then big name in skate shoes. Vans. I used to wear Vans as a teenager. And it's a brand. It's a brand of shoe. And then purchase for the den. HDTV. And essays are, I don't know. What about this? This looks like drums. Yes, congas and bongos those are drums. And actress Anna of True Blood. Oh no, True Bloods. Is that the name of that program? I've never. No, so I've never seen True Blood nor True Bloods, but maybe the thing that I thought was called True Blood is in fact called True Bloods. I have no idea. Anyway, I've heard of Anna Paquin. She was in Almost Famous, which was one of my absolute favorite movies for when I was, I don't know, whatever age I was when it came out. I probably watched it dozens of times, to be totally honest with you, and she was in that movie. Not very much. She had a fairly small part, but anyway, essays. Oh, tries. So in this meaning of essays, we're saying it's an attempt. It sort of attempts rather than writing an essay, writing a paper, for instance, for school. And then here we have one of a pair of kitchen tools. Oh, a mortar and pestle. I see. So when it's a pair, I was thinking a matched pair. So two of the same things, like, I don't know, chopsticks or something. It's a pair because they're matched. But no, this means a tool that consists of two things. So a mortar and pestle, you need both of those things for them to be functional. Okay, news updates with the latest. How about that? And Othello character who quips, "They are all but stomachs, and we all but food." And I cannot bring this to mind again. We have a pairing for our other Shakespearean clue here, this Ophelia bit. What about this? I haven't looked at this long clue. Engaged in some circular reasoning. Begged the question. Which, that is a phrase that is, that's a phrase that has been essentially completely altered in recent years. So begged the question does concern with this sort of circular reasoning where you kind of you're begging the question by kind of referring back to itself. You're creating a situation where you're sort of you're sort of relying on the premise of the question in order to answer the question, I guess. I hope that's an okay way to phrase that. Whereas what people tend to use beg the question to mean now is just to mean raise the question. So people just say, well, that begs the question, how much time is left in this crossword? And it's not really what beg the question means. We just use it as a way to say that prompts the question or that brings the question to mind or something like that. But at this point, it's become so widespread that I think it's going to start, if it hasn't already, it will probably start showing up in dictionaries with that kind of revised meaning, because I just don't think it ever gets used in its original meaning these days. It gets used almost entirely in that alternative way. So I think we're sort of witnessing language changing. This is one example in which we're sort of witnessing it change in real time. And I suspect within not too many years, it will have fully made that transition, which is what happens to language. Othello character, right. And then on the wagon, sober. If you're on the wagon, it's a way to describe having quit drinking and staying. So mission cancellation. I don't know. Null? I'm not sure. Mission cancellation. Blank room. Attack tactic. Siege. You could have a siege of a city, for instance. And mission. What is this? Oh, no go? Maybe? Is that what that is? And what you might get on a log flume ride. You might get what? A log flume ride. A ride, sort of an amusement park attraction in which the ride vehicle is a hollowed out log or meant to look like a hollowed out log. That kind of thing. Cartomancy medium. This must be tarot cards. Oh, Amelia from Othello. And then, elbow room. Yes, elbow room. There we go. But I don't know why I didn't arrive at that earlier, but I didn't. First line in news story. This is a bit of sort of journalistic slang. So you get lead. There are a number of bits of journalism jargon that are essentially intentional misspellings or maybe alternative spellings, you could say as well, of common words like lead. So this would be equivalent to L-E-A-D. The journalistic version is L-E-D-E. Similarly, graph is in paragraph, G-R-A-F, that kind of thing, instead of G-R-A-P-H. And this refers to the first line in news story, which has a function. It should sort of set up the story and grab you in a particular way. Blank cheese. Well, it could be blue cheese spelled like this in the English manner, or it could be blue cheese spelled like this in the French manner. And I think either of those is acceptable for different reasons. Not different reasons, but just depending on the context. So which is it? You are Spanish. And then here we have beer. I should always look at the eggs when we get an egg. I should always look at the egg cross. Beer parties, keggers, I suppose. There we go. And what about this? Chrysler offering of the 1980s. Oh, the K car was a model of Chrysler. Why do I know that? I have no idea. Granted through a treaty, you could cede land. So granted, ceded land through a treaty. And have I looked at this yet? No. Foreign exchange abbreviation. So it could be US dollars. And then you are Spanish, eres, and then blue cheese in the French manner. Blue cheese or blue cheese. All right, so that's all cleaned up. So let's look at this area over here. Something, and I don't, you know what? I don't think we ever got a revealer for this puzzle. I suppose we don't need one. It's an egg hunt, and the title of the puzzle is sort of the revealer. The revealer being what you sometimes get in a themed puzzle, which is an answer that sort of explains or references or clarifies the theme. And in this case, I think the title of the puzzle essentially does that. It's an Easter egg hunt. Okay, a crony could be one's pal, maybe, and something intricately detailed and impressive. A work of art. Ah, there we go. Oh, if she deems something right, she sees fit, maybe? To do, yeah. She deems right to finish this crossword. She sees fit to finish this crossword. That matches. It's often worth us when you're trying to match up the part of speech or the tense or whatever to try and replace. And this is probably obvious, but it's worth knowing that it works this cleanly. You really should, in almost all cases, be able to directly replace the answer to a given crossword clue with the clue itself. Most of the time they will be they will swap out cleanly. They should match the sort of tense and whether it's plural or singular and the part of speech. And it's usually obvious when that isn't the case. Like name that begins with Edgy. It's obvious that this is describing Reggie. Obviously, you wouldn't say, "Oh, hello there, Reggie." You wouldn't replace that with, "Oh, hello there," name that rhymes with Edgy. Obviously, it's usually clear where that's not possible. But when it's just a word that's serving as a synonym, you should be able to replace it. Anyway, it's spineless. Not sure. And what about this? Oh, that's that Chinese thing I still don't know. Jazz piano. Don't know that either. Unrivaled. Alone. You're unrivaled. You're alone. You have no rivals. It's spineless. An ebook. Oh, that's clever. It's an electronic book, so it has no spine. And this is a rare answer, ebook, where I actually do accept it because unlike many other things that have gone electronic, books really do retain a different character. You wouldn't say e-movie or something like, or e-video because you don't have the physical video cassette or the physical DVD or something, because we just understand that those things are you just say, "Oh, I watched it online," or whatever. But with books, we do understand that there's sort of a qualitative difference for whatever reason, and they've both, the kind of physical book and the ebook, have been continually successful. So it's worth having the e thing. Whereas often in these crosswords, you'll get things like e-tail for retail, for online retail. And it's like, no, nobody says that. Nobody says e-tail. Anyway, oh, is it sinfonia? I think I just remembered this word incorrectly. What did I say? Symphonia? Yeah, that's not correct. Sinfonia, I believe, is what this is. Orchestral prelude to an opera. So does that help? Chinese Chipaoji? Oh, address, presumably. And then people in a long line. It was indeed what I thought, but I couldn't bring the word to mind. Rulers. So you could have a dynasty, people in a long line of monarchs, for instance. There we go. And then Ubi Blake or Blake Ubi. That sounds familiar, but I'm obviously not familiar enough to have brought it to mind or even to be completely confident which is the surname, which is the given name. But it does look familiar when I see it written down. Okay, so we had no eggs in this zone. It's an egg-free zone. Let's keep solving the puzzle here. Toll maker. A bell tolls. There we go. Shoots the breeze. I don't know. You chat. What do you shoot the breeze? Chats. It probably ends in an S, right? Something else. There we go. That looks right. a Greek letter. So very clever. So question mark, bit of pun or wordplay. A Greek letter. The Greek letter A, I think is what this is, or alpha. Lime a blank, alcoholic beverage. Lime-a-rita, I guess. Is this a margarita? Doesn't a margarita already have lime in it? Does it not? I thought a margarita already had lime. I'm going to have to look that up. Anyway. Shoots the breeze. Raps. Ah, right. So slang term for conversation. And then undergo a chemical change to react. Yes, you could have a substance react, undergo a chemical change. Here, Isa of the Lovebirds, Ray. I would have known that if I'd seen it before, but I somehow didn't look at, no, I guess I just stopped looking at the acrosses. I didn't see any of these. Oh, that's funny. Anyway, Issa Rae, probably most famous for her excellent show Insecure. And apt facial hair for a teacher. Well, this looks like mustache. Apt facial hair for a teacher. I'm not sure, but let's look at the crosses. Backtalk could be sass. Don't sass me, don't backtalk me. Clean extensively. Not sure. And what Beatles music did at Abbey Road famously? What Beatles music did at Abbey Road? What does that mean? So the Beatles recorded the album Abbey Road at Abbey Road Recording Studio. What does this mean? What it did? I'm not sure. Kicked the balls between the legs of in soccer slang. Not sure about that either. End with bald or bold. Baldness or boldness. I mean, that's the most straightforward ending. Clean extensively. Oh, scrub. And what about this? Children's character who sings I Love Trash. So I can't say I know the song I Love Trash necessarily, but I assume this is Oscar the Grouch from Sesame Street who lives in a trash can. And then how fancy. Ooh, you could say, ooh, how fancy. I'm guessing there's going to be an egg. Oh, maybe there won't be an egg in here. There wasn't an egg. So we saw that the eggs were not symmetrically disposed, but are they basically, do they essentially match? No, they don't even, they're not even necessarily in symmetrically disposed sort of sections of the grid, even that. So I can't necessarily assume I know that they are or aren't going to be up here. So if you must pay back somebody, you owe to that person maybe. And an exchange is a swap. A big star is a celeb. Many, many is a ton of. Oops. The R of Edward R. Murrow. So Edward R. Murrow was an incredibly notable figure of American journalism who spoke out against Senator Joseph McCarthy. I'm just saying that to cover up the fact that I don't know his middle name. Edward R. Murrow. Edward, I don't know. Overhead lights, halos, sort of above a saint's head in the illustration, for instance. And, a pencil mustache is an apt facial hair for a teacher. That's funny, because a teacher might carry a pencil, I guess. Roscoe, this must be. Edward Roscoe Murrow. I don't think I ever knew that. And a rum runner, e.g., is a bootlegger. So maybe this isn't scrub. Scour, there we go. So bootlegger. So this is referring to somebody who, I suppose probably most prominently in the Prohibition era, although obviously you could smuggle goods in any era if you're importing them illegally. So someone who imports illicit rum, or I guess any alcoholic spirit, a bootlegger. Okay, goes off on is yells at. And gross sanding plant is a yucca tree. Yuck, it sort of sounds like. Oh, once again, I forgot to check the cross on the egg. So kicked the ball between the legs of is nutmegged. Ah, that does ring a bell now that I see it. I absolutely would not have gotten that without the word being heavily crossed, which this was. Oh, what Beatles music did at Abbey Road famously? It echoed. Oh, interesting. So it says famously, so I feel sort of bad for not knowing that because I am a pretty big Beatles fan, I guess I would say. And I do feel as though, generally speaking, I know a lot about their recording, but somehow I missed that fact. Anyway, the spirit of a culture is its ethos. So the kind of cohering or animating spirit of a particular culture, its ethos. There we go. All right. there's the Sunday crossword. So let's admire the puzzle. Let's admire your puzzle. I always feel strange about when it says your puzzle. I don't feel, oh, look at this. We have a little, that's adorable. We have a little, the egg rebuses have been replaced by egg illustrations. And we have 3 of these little rabbit ones, and then 2 of these, I don't know, sort of Fabergé egg looking ones, and then 2 more of these ornate ones, actually. All right, so we had egg crossing bootlegger and nutmegged. And bootlegger is probably the bootlegger and nutmegged. These are sort of the closest to standard kind of non-proper noun English, I think, in the grid, nutmegged and bootlegger. Yeah. Here we have, oh, and pegged as well, actually, now that I think about it. Pegged and reggae band. Veggies out and yegs. Arpeggio and it's actually difficult to read with these images. And Lego My Ego, which also crosses preggers. We have keggers and begged the question. Begged, another good example of standard English. So it's funny. I guess it just happened to be the case that I front-loaded all of the sort of proper nouns and loan words and things like that. But we actually do have several standard English words in here. Begged the question in keggers, and finally Winnipegger and Reggie, the name. So there we go. A fun construction from Emmett Ozar's, her debut in the New York Times crossword. I really enjoyed that. And I think a pretty fairly pitched Sunday crossword in terms of difficulty more broadly. But of course, if you're new to the crossword, or if you're new to New York Times themed puzzles, perhaps, you might be taken by surprise by that rebus. I'd be interested to hear from those of you who are. I'm curious how you found that, if this isn't something you've encountered before. And I think that's actually it for today's video, because at least at the time I'm recording this, there weren't any corrections to yesterday's puzzle in the comments. I'm sorry if you did leave one and I didn't get to it, but I didn't see any at least at the time I collected them. So that's that for today's puzzle, and I suppose it's been long enough. It's almost 50 minutes at this point. So thank you for joining me for this extra long Sunday puzzle, this Easter Sunday puzzle. I enjoyed it. I hope you did as well. And please do subscribe to the channel, if so. And I'll be back, of course, tomorrow for a much quicker solve, the Monday crossword. Nice, zippy Monday solve. Probably no rebuses, regular-sized grid, pretty easy. So do come back for that. But until then, please do have an excellent remainder of your Sunday. Take care.